Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth, and we got a full slate of games, so let's jump right in, starting with the news. The Astros are going to select Luis Guillorme. They had recently designated Forrest Whitley for assignment. He's been traded to the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Astros have an open 40-man spot. They don't have to do anything there. Guillorme was hitting 245, but showing some good plate skills in AAA. So we'll see what kind of role he plays. We'll see what kind of impact he can have. Forrest Whitley to the Rays feels interesting, to say the least. I mean, he's always had big stuff, but just hasn't really been able to put it together. We'll see what the Rays can do with him in a bullpen role as they start to, mold him as the Rays do. AJ Puck for the Diamondbacks has stopped his throwing due to elbow discomfort. He's been out with a flexor strain, and he's going to be out for a little bit longer. The big lefty has had a history of injuries dating back to his time as a top prospect for the Athletics. He's been doing well out of the bullpen. They were hoping he would be one of their back end leverage bullpen arms, but not to be, at least right now. He's going to be out once again a little bit longer. He stopped throwing with his elbow discomfort. In a bigger blow for the Diamondbacks bullpen, Justin Martinez is going to be undergoing Tommy John surgery. The electric reliever is going to miss well into the 2026 season. And that means the Diamondbacks are without two guys, Puck and Martinez, that they were really hoping to rely on to take the bulk of the high leverage for them. And so both are out. Puck may be back. We're not sure, but Martinez will be out until at least mid 2026. After requesting a trade, Aaron Savali was granted one very quickly. He's going to be heading to the White Sox. Andrew Vaughn is going to the Brewers. Savali should be able to get a rotation spot, which is what he was shooting for. So the White Sox, rotation has some openings. He should be an upgrade, you'd think. Andrew Vaughn, I don't know that he's going to see a whole lot of playing time, at least without injury. I mean, Rhys Hoskins is obviously at first base, but if Andrew Vaughn shows the Brewers something, he could be positioning himself for the first base gig next year, and you're not ruling out a role at some point this year. I'm just not sure what that would be. Hoskins is going to be a free agent, though, so Vaughn might be playing for next year. Joshua Palacios has been DFA'd by the White Sox, who claim Ryan Noda. They've also recalled Brooks Baldwin and brought Tyler Gilbert back from the IL. Owen White has been optioned. Noda should have an opportunity to get an opportunity, as you like to say. Now, the former Rule 5 pick, he plays first base, and that's something the White Sox are going to need. They just traded Andrew Vaughn, who they optioned earlier. They've been rolling with Tim Elko, and Miguel Vargas has been playing some first base for them, but Elko's struggling. I mean, he's hitting one something, and you can use Vargas elsewhere. So if they like Noda and think Noda can help, he might be getting some regular reps at first base. At least the opportunity will be there if he can hit. Gunnar Hoglund for the Athletics is going to miss the rest of the season after getting hip surgery. This is the latest of his injury woes. He's also had some arm issues in the past as a prospect. He looked promising in spurts. I mean, overall, if you look at the numbers, he wasn't blowing anyone away. He had a 6.40 ERA and 6 MLB starts. Part of that could be the hip bothering him. You don't really know, but he looked good in spurts. Like, he showed flashes, and I was hoping he could figure it out, but he's going to miss the rest of the season with a hip injury. The Mariners outright Leody Taveras, who has cleared waivers. He hit 174 since joining Seattle, so couldn't recapture any of his abilities or at least performance rather from some of the earlier days with the Rangers, and he is going to be in AAA for Seattle. Cody Senga, as mentioned on yesterday's podcast, left his start. He was going to get an MRI. Well, he got the MRI, and now he's on the 15-day IL with a hamstring strain. He's been very good, so it's a tough blow for the Mets. They'll be out without him for at least a couple weeks. The plan, according to Carlos Mendoza, is that Paul Blackburn is slated to start in the place of Senga. Blackburn threw a third of an inning in yesterday's games, gave up like 4 runs, but he's going to be theoretically rejoining the bullpen. A lot can change between now and Wednesday when that's slated to happen, but that's the plan at the moment. Ha-Sung Kim for the Rays, he'd been nearing the end of his rehab. He has yet to play for the Rays, and he got pulled with hamstring tightness, so he's going to be out for a little bit longer. The um, news about it that I saw specified that with this hamstring strain, he's going to be out for at least 5 days. And if he returns, when he returns, he's going to have another 20 days to rehab and start feeling better. So he was nearing the end of his 20 days. I think it might have been right at the end, but a hamstring strain or hamstring tightness, rather, I should say, because that's what it is hamstring tightness. That's holding him off the field for another few days. And the final bit of news before we jump into some performances, Royce Lewis has sustained a hamstring strain. The struggling, oft injured infielder will undergo some tests to see if there's still discomfort. But I say struggling. He's kind of been doing okay lately. He's hit a couple home runs and seems like he was starting to find his groove a little bit, which I guess the way he was hitting the bar's a little bit low for finding your groove, but he had been hitting pretty well lately, and obviously had to leave the game yesterday with this hamstring strain. Taking a look at some highlights, starting with one that hurts because I had him on my bench. Casey Schmidt hit a grand slam for the Giants, his second home run of the year. He missed part of the year. His overall stats don't look great. I think he's hitting like low twos, but he's hitting 316 over his last 5 games, and both of his homers coming in that span. So, maybe heating up a little bit, starting to get to some of that power. We'll see, how often he plays with that role in San Francisco. Stephen Kwan also hit a home run today, his 6th on the year. And if you're wondering, yes, he is still Stephen Kwan. He's going to add you some average. He's hitting over 300 with a little bit of pop and some steals. He's got 9 on the year. Mariners offense had a good day. They put up 16 hits, including 7 extra base hits, led by Rowdy Tellez and Jorge Polanco, who both had a home run and a double in that game. Ben Williamson had a double too. I mention him all the time. I just feel like there's something there, even though, he's never really shown the power, but he's hitting 260 now. So maybe he's figuring something out. Corbin Carroll for the Diamondbacks reaches 20 home runs on the year after hitting one in yesterday's game. He's hitting 260 on the year with 10 stolen bases. So what you're getting from Corbin Carroll in 2025 is more power, but less steals. So I guess he's getting production for you somewhere. It's just kind of fluctuated a little bit. The Twins send 3 balls over the fence. Willie Castro, Royce Lewis, and Ty France all had home runs. That's right. Royce Lewis hit a home run before having to exit that game. Jacob Melton for the Astros hit a triple. That is his first extra base hit of his young career. And he also had 3 RBIs in the game. Since being promoted and making his debut, he's hitting 241 with 12 strikeouts in 29 at-bats. And as I mentioned, just got his first extra base hit, a triple. Speaking of triples, Nick Lofton. I mean, you've heard of back-to-back homer games. Why not a back-to-back triple games? That's what Nick Lofton did. Lofton is hitting 280 in June with a double, a home run, and of course the 2 triples that he just hit. That's through 25 at-bats in the month. So he's getting plenty of playing time, and he's been hitting pretty well. All right, well, we also have homers in back-to-back games I could talk about. Josh Smith for the Rangers did just that. He's up to 7 home runs on the year, hitting 284. Over his last 15 games, he has been on fire, hitting 322 with 3 bombs and more walks than strikeouts. I think it's 15 walks, 12 strikeouts. So he has been hitting very well for the Rangers. Ronald Acuna Jr. had 3 hits, including a double, and in my mind, this is the bigger part of it, he stole his first base since coming back from the injury. Michael Harris and Marcelo Zuna also homered in that game as Atlanta had a very good day at the plate. Aaron Judge struck out 3 times for the Yankees, but in his last at-bat in the 9th inning, he hit a solo shot to tie things up at 1-1, sent the game into extra innings. Moreover, this home run was his 26th on the year. That ties him with Cal Raleigh, and they are tied for the MLB lead. The closest behind them is Shohei Ohtani, who has 23 home runs. Again, Judge and Raleigh both have 26. Jonathan Aranda for the Rays continues his great season. He got 3 hits and a walk in yesterday's game, including his 8th home run of the year. He's hitting 322 on the season. Ellie De La Cruz had 3 hits, including his 14th homer and his 14th double on the year. Just a dynamic player. The Tigers' offense exploded pretty well, led by a pair of home runs from Gleyber Torres, who has just been a revelation in Detroit. I mean, he has been so good. Obviously, he had his little bout with injury, but when he's been on the field, he has been much better than expected, I think, at the plate for the Tigers. Riley Green and Javier Baez both added a home run and a double. Christian Moore made his debut with the Angels, going 0 for 3 with a strikeout. And I'll tell you, obviously it's hard to make your MLB debut with his penchant for swing and miss. That could have been a lot worse. So hopefully that is a sign of good things to come. Maybe he can start, hitting the ball a little bit over his next couple games. Speaking of rookies who made it look easy to transition to the major leagues, Agustin Ramirez, remember his super hot streak that he had as soon as he got called up? Well, he had 3 hits and 5 at-bats in yesterday's games, including a pair of home runs. He's up to 10 home runs on the season. However, he has calmed down a bit, hitting 237 in the big leagues. James Wood collects his 17th home run and 17 double in a 3-hit effort. I find that odd that we both Ellie De La Cruz and James Wood hit home runs and doubles, and it's just the same number of each, right? I'm a weirdo. Anyway, the Phillies had 8 runs fueled by a 3-run home run by Kyle Schwarber. It was his 22nd of the year. And Otto Kemp, another prospect who recently got called up, just doing a check-in. He's hitting .273 in his first 22 at-bats, so doing a good job getting the bat to the ball and getting hits. No counting stats to speak of. He's played mostly third and first in his time in the majors. Taking a look at some starters, Luis M. Castillo for the Mariners struck out 7 while surrendering a pair of runs on 3 hits in 6 innings. Both home runs came on solo shots. Stephen Kwan and Nolan Jones hit those. Ryan Nelson went 5 innings, gave up 1 unearned run, and struck out 3. Freddie Peralta, I saw on MLB Trade Rumors, had been seeking an extension with the Brewers. I mean, just give it to him. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts against the Cardinals. This lowers his season ERA to 2.60, so he's having a great year. Chris Paddock had been having a great year for the Twins, but that streak came to an end in a way you don't like to see. He surrendered 8 runs across 4 innings, and so, yeah, they got to him a little bit. Colton Gordon for the Astros turns in a solid performance, 5 strikeouts, 6 innings, and he surrendered a pair of runs on solo shots. Luis Severino scattered 6 hits and 2 walks and gave up 1 run in 7.2 innings. He had just 1 strikeout in that time. He did register his 1,000th career inning, so congratulations, Luis Severino. In those 1,000 innings, he has 1,010 strikeouts. In 2025, he has 90 2/3 innings and 61 strikeouts. He is not making batters miss at all so far this year. Sean Armstrong started the game for the Rangers and went 3 innings, went 3 perfect innings, didn't give up any walks or hits, and struck out 5 in that time. German Marquez for the Rockies had a really good day, gave up 1 run over 5 innings and struck out 7, which lowers his season ERA to 6.62 because, Rockies. Garrett Crochet, scheduled tweet here. He's been fantastic, and he was fantastic again. He got into the 9th inning against the Yankees before giving up that solo shot to Aaron Judge. He threw 8 1/3 innings, struck out 7 in that outing. Taj Bradley walked 4 and struck out 5 across 4 innings. He gave up 0 earned runs. He gave up 5 unearned runs. And I just struggle to remember a time when somebody's given up that many unearned runs at the big league level, but Taj Bradley just did it. Cater Montero for the Tigers continues to be solid, if not unspectacular. He followed opener Brant Herter, and Montero threw 5 innings and struck out 4, giving up a pair of runs. He's just, he's fairly solid if you need a guy. Speaking of, I'd mentioned in yesterday's podcast, maybe thinking about Jack Kochanowicz against the Orioles. That went okay. Jack Kochanowicz threw 4 1/3 innings, gave up 2 runs on solo shots, and struck out 2. So, again, in super deep leagues, if you needed some innings, Kochanowicz, Montero, they're definitely guys who can get you innings because, Montero, we'll see how much longer. But they've gotten you some solid innings over the past few weeks. Charlie Morton got you some really good innings in yesterday's games. The 41-year-old still showing he's got something in the tank. 5 innings of shutout ball with 10 strikeouts. That's right. Charlie Morton reaching double digits. He has a 6.05 ERA on the year, but he was able to be very successful against the Angels. Edward Cabrera went 3 innings, struck out 5, gave up a pair of runs, so he did not last very long, but he did okay. And Paul Skeens, this was like my game of the day from yesterday's podcast. Paul Skeens versus Cade Horton, and I got to tell you, it lived up to the billing. Paul Skeens struck out 5 and walked 2 in 5 shutout innings. He's got a 1.78 ERA on the year now. Cade Horton struck out 4 and walked 1 in 4 2/3 shutout innings. So both of them had very solid days. Obviously, Paul Skeens outdueling Cade Horton, but that's Paul Skeens for you. With that, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, I got a few starters from today's games that I want to talk about, some guys that I like, all that fun stuff. That's going to be coming up in just a moment. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth, and you are listening to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth. Happy to have you with me. We've talked news, we've talked performances. Now, let's talk about what's coming up in today's games. Few pitchers I want to mention. One of them is Mike Burrows for the Pirates. He's been good in his last 2 starts, striking out 12 across 9 2/3 innings and giving up only a pair of earned runs. So if you're talking about riding the hot hand, he's been doing well. However, he's drawing the Cubs, and that is a tough draw, if not just because you have to face Pete Crow Armstrong, but they have, 8 other guys in that lineup. Either way, tough draw for Burrows, but he has been doing pretty well. Jacob deGrom, man, he's been so good this year. I mean, he's coming off an outing when where he had 8 strikeouts in 7 shutout innings. He has a 1.66 ERA over his last 43 1/3 innings. So it seems like a safe play considering he's up against the Chicago White Sox. That should be a good day for Jacob deGrom, or at least that's what it seems like on the outside here. I am not sure what to think about the Rockies and Braves for today's game. It's Chase DeLander versus Spencer Strider. It's going to be good for someone. That could be the hitters, or it could be the pitchers. Maybe they both bring their good stuff. It has the potential to be a really good pitching outing, has the potential to be a really good hitting day. But Chase DeLander versus Spencer Strider, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. George Kirby taking the mound against Tanner Bybee and the Guardians. I'm really interested to see what George Kirby looks like. He's given up 2 runs in each of his last 2 outings. He's obviously coming off of his 14 strikeout outing against the Angels. I want to see if the strikeouts are still there. That's been like the one ingredient that seems like it's missing since Kirby came back. Don't expect it to be 14 strikeouts, obviously, but I do want to see him get some more whiffs. Will be interesting to see how he does against the Guardians. And finally, the game of the day. It's the Twins versus the Astros. I feel like every time that Hunter Brown pitches, I pick him, but that's just because he's so much fun to watch. Hunter Brown versus Joe Ryan. I think that's going to be a fun one. Both pitchers having great seasons, and it's got the potential just to be dominant pitching, which as a former pitcher, I love. So that's my game of the day, Joe Ryan versus Hunter Brown. With that, make sure to check out pitcherlist.com, top 100 lists for pitchers, starting pitchers, hitters, relievers. We got it all there, along with some other excellent content. Make sure to join PL Pro so you can talk with us in the Discord. And I will see you guys tomorrow. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.